Hey, welcome back. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is Empire Builders, the rise and fall of civilizations. You know, living in New York, you get used to the sound of water. The hiss of a hydrant on a hot summer day, the rumble of pipes in an old apartment building. It's the hidden pulse of the city. But it got me thinking about another city, one that turned water from a simple utility into the very foundation of an empire. Imagine a metropolis in the jungle, not of steel and glass, but of sandstone and laterite, where the skyline was dominated by temple spires and the streets were made of water. This is the story of a civilization that didn't just live with water. It engineered it, worshipped it, and ultimately may have been undone by it. This is the story of Angkor, the hydraulic city. To understand Angkor, you have to first erase the image of a lost city slowly being strangled by jungle vines. That's the romantic 19th century explorer's view. The reality, as modern archaeology reveals, is far more profound. Angkor was a vast, sprawling, meticulously planned hydraulic machine. At its peak in the 12th and 13th centuries, it was the largest pre-industrial urban complex in the world, larger than modern-day Los Angeles. And its lifeblood wasn't gold or soldiers. It was monsoon rains and sophisticated engineering. The genius of the Khmer Empire lay in its response to a fundamental challenge: Cambodia's dramatic seasonal swing. For months, the monsoon brings torrential, flooding rains. Then, for even longer months, a parching drought sets in. To build a stable, agricultural society capable of supporting hundreds of thousands of people and the monumental projects of god kings, you couldn't leave that to chance. The Khmer solution was breathtaking in its scale and simplicity. They didn't just build temples, they built a landscape. They constructed an immense, citywide network of barrays, gigantic artificial reservoirs, canals, moats, and intricate field systems. This wasn't just for show. This system captured the furious abundance of the monsoon, stored it in these massive inland seas, and then metered it out during the dry season to irrigate rice paddies. They could produce 3, sometimes even 4, rice harvests a year in a region that naturally yielded 1. That's surplus. That's wealth. That's power. And at the very center of this hydraulic universe stands Angkor Wat. We see it as a temple, and it is a sublime one. But look at it from above, as archaeologists now do with laser scans. See that massive moat, perfectly aligned? It's not just a defensive feature or a symbolic ocean. It was a critical part of the water regulation system, stabilizing the water table for the entire temple complex. The Khmer kings, particularly Suryavarman II, who built Angkor Wat, and Jayavarman VII, who built the walled city of Angkor Thom, were master marketers of their own divinity. They presented themselves as universal rulers, Devarajas, god kings. And what better way to prove your divine mandate than to command the very element that gives life and takes it away? By controlling water, they were performing a miracle every single year. They were demonstrating a covenant with the gods. The barrays were called the Sea of Indra, the Ocean of Shiva. These weren't just reservoirs. They were religious monuments to power, literal mirrors for the heavens, reflecting the temples and the gods they represented. But here's the fascinating, and perhaps tragic, twist. This brilliant system contained the seeds of its own vulnerability. An empire built on such precise hydrological control is incredibly resilient until it isn't. It becomes a complex, tightly coupled system. Think of it like a brilliant piece of code, elegant, efficient, but with a single point of failure. For Angkor, that failure likely came from a combination of forces. Climate studies of tree rings in the region point to severe volatility in the 14th and 15th centuries, a series of intense droughts followed by catastrophic mega-monsoons. The very system designed to moderate variation may have been overwhelmed by extremes it was never meant to handle. Canals silted up, reservoirs overflowed or ran dry. The meticulous balance was shattered. And there's another angle. Some scholars argue that the very success of the hydraulic city led to its ecological downfall. To support a massive population and those staggering construction projects, deforestation in the hinterlands would have been rampant. That deforestation leads to soil erosion, which sends more silt into those carefully engineered canals, clogging them. It changes local rainfall patterns. It's a classic feedback loop. The empire's growth demands more resources, The extraction of those resources degrades the environment, and the degraded environment can no longer support the empire's complex infrastructure. Add to that possible shifts in trade routes that moved economic power elsewhere and the social strain of maintaining such a labor-intensive system, and you have a perfect storm. The empire didn't vanish overnight. People didn't just abandon Angkor. It was a gradual unraveling, a slow migration away from a struggling, high-maintenance urban core whose divine promise, the reliable control of water, had been broken. It's a story that hits close to home for me. Ibnul, as an engineer, we build systems to solve problems. We see a variable like water, and we think, we can control that. We can optimize it. The Khmer were some of the greatest civil and hydraulic engineers the world has ever seen. Their ambition is humbling, but their story is also a profound lesson in interdependence. They built an empire on managing an environmental cycle, but in doing so, they tied their entire fate to it. When that cycle went haywire, the entire societal structure was at risk. It makes me think about our own systems today. Our digital networks, our global supply chains, our energy grids. They are our modern berets and canals, incredibly sophisticated, enabling wonders, but also creating deep, sometimes hidden, vulnerabilities. So what are we left with? We're left with more than just ruins. We're left with the legacy of a civilization that looked at a jungle and a volatile climate and saw not limits, but a canvas. They built a city of water, a machine for living and for worshiping, that stood for centuries. Angkor teaches us that the greatest empires are often those that solve the most fundamental problems, like how to feed 1 million people in a challenging land. But it also whispers a warning that the very solutions which make us great can become the architecture of our fragility. The water that gave life to Angkor, in the end, may have also carried its power away. Thanks for joining me on this journey to the heart of the Khmer Empire. If you're fascinated by these stories of how civilizations are woven into their environments, make sure you're subscribed to Empire Builders wherever you get your podcasts. Share it with a friend who loves history, engineering, or just a great story. For more deep dives into the narratives that shaped our world, visit our production home at Light Not Studios. https://www.lightnotstudios.com. Until next time, keep building.